Yo guys, welcome back to Leadfoot TV. So if you watched the last video, we got the car, the Suzuki, up and running. We had a few minor issues. I think one of the coil packs might be a little bit faulty, but that's an issue for another day because it's drivable in that state. But we were losing quite a lot of gearbox oil, so I have bought some drive shaft seals. They're genuine parts from Suzuki, so hopefully they'll fit okay. The 27 quid for 2 drive shaft seals, which wasn't too bad considering they were from a main dealership. So yeah, we've got 2 of those. They're different sizes for each side. One's slightly bigger than the other. So yeah, just make sure you get the right side. But because I was getting both, I didn't have to worry. So yeah, we're gonna just drop the drive shafts back out of the Suzuki, put the seals in, and put some fresh gearbox oil back in it for the 3rd time. So yeah, let's get to it. So, as I predicted, it's this side gearbox seal that's gone. What happened was we were having problems with the coilovers, and these holes were weren't drilled in the right place, or something was wrong anyway, and I had to end up modifying the holes in the coilovers to get them to fit. But before I did that, I ended up trying to tighten them up to get them to go through, and it ended up like kinking the whole suspension and ripped the drive shaft out. And I thought I'd got away with it, but I think on its way out, it's ripped this seal. The other side seal is all right, so I think what I'm going to do is just leave that seal for now and just change this one that's leaking. So I'm going to start by draining the oil out, which is this little plug here. It just comes out with a 3/8 ratchet with no socket on it, so it's just like a square drive. So I'll start by draining the oil out, and then we'll start taking this drive shaft out. So first things first is we need to remove the drive shaft nut. So initially you want to, basically it has like a little indented bit. That bit was hit into there, so you'll just have to get a screwdriver, tap it out so that it doesn't lock, and then either get a gun to get it off. So I've got a 30mm socket there. It should come off with the gun easy enough. So that's off. If you haven't got a gun, the way you'll have to do it is take the wheel off, push your center cap out, put your wheel back on, then put the car back on the ground, undo it with a breaker bar, and then once you've got it loose, you can take it off and take the wheel back off again. It's a long way of doing it, so if you've got a gun, it does make life a lot easier. And then to get the drive shaft out, you've got 2 ways of doing it. So you can split the ball joint, which is I think there's a 14mm bolt that goes through, a pinch bolt, and then you can get a ball joint splitter and split the ball joint. I'm not going to do it that way, basically because I just don't want to damage this ball joint taking it out. So the other way of doing it is splitting it at the suspension. So you can take these 2 bolts out the bottom of the suspension, and it will actually move enough for you to get the drive shaft out. Doesn't work on every car you do, but it does seem to work on these. So I'm going to do it that way, save me damaging the ball joint. So next up is taking these 2 pinch bolts out the bottom of the suspension, which are 17mm. So I need a 17mm spanner and a 17mm socket for my gun. I can buzz them off, and then we can basically just pull the hub to one side and push the drive shaft out the middle. So another thing to do is just remove this brake pipe as well. That lets you pull the hub a little bit further away. So now that is away, there'll be a washer in this side. There isn't a washer on the other side because the washer is built into the nut on the other side. But on this side there should be a washer, and basically it'll now that that's pulled forwards, you should be able to pull on the hub and pull the drive shaft, and it'll come out. I'll need both hands to do it, so I won't be able to show you, but it's pretty straightforward. If your drive shaft feels a bit stuck, just get a little like an extension or something, or like a punch or something, and just punch the middle, and that'll just break the seal, and it should come out. So yeah, I'll get that drive shaft out now. So the drive shaft's out this end. To get this end out, you can either absolutely yank it but sometimes it'll pull the bearings out of the inner CV boot, and it can make it a little bit awkward to get out. So sometimes it's just a good idea just to get a bit of a screwdriver or a bar or something and just get behind that CV joint and just prise it out. It comes out then without you pulling apart the CV joints. It doesn't always work, but if you can get it out that way, it's a lot better. Obviously, just be careful if you haven't got a damaged seal, if you're doing it that way, not to damage the seal with the screwdriver. So yeah, now that drive shaft's out, we'll get the seal out. So that's the old seal out. I can't see any really obvious damage on it other than the fact it's got a bit of a weird lip on this side. Oh no, I think that is split. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's actually split on the edge here. So to get this out, basically, it sits in the gearbox and you want to just get a screwdriver under one edge. Once you've got it in like that, just tap the end of the screwdriver and the seal will basically come out. So to get it back in, you basically just need to get it in really, really straight, otherwise you'll damage it going in. So we need to put a little bit of grease around the outside and then push it in by hand, and then basically get a socket the size of this seal, and hit it with a socket on an extension so that it equally hits it all the way around and it goes in straight. So we'll figure out which one of the seals is this one, and then we'll stick it all back together. So the seal for this side is the smaller one of the two. That is the part number on the front if you need it. So yeah, this is the passenger side drive shaft, and yeah, that's the part number for it. It's the smaller one of the two. The other one's quite a bit bigger. So that's the other one. It's I'll show you here side by side. It's quite a lot chunkier. It doesn't look it in the camera, but when you've got it in your hand, it's actually a lot bigger. So the smaller one of the two is the passenger side. That's the part number for the passenger side, and that is the part number for the driver's side. So yeah, let's get them in now. Yeah, and hopefully it'll stop the leak. So there we go. That is the drive shaft seal back in. Yeah, it's up to you how you want to put the gearbox oil back in. You can, while the drive shaft's out, you can always pour some in through there. I don't know whether it'll take everything. The gearbox is meant to take 2.2 litres. So the way I did it originally, when we put the engine in, was take the gear selector out, but because obviously it had a gasket, I had to seal it back together, so I don't want to pull that apart again. You can see there the sealer coming out the sides. The other option is there is this bolt here on the side. That is like one of the lock bolts for holding the gear selector in, but you can top it up through there if you've got a funnel small enough to go in the bolt hole. The other option is just putting it straight in the gearbox through the drive shaft hole. I'm gonna just have a go and see how much that'll take, just for the purpose of the video. But yeah, if you can't get it all in there and it starts pouring out, then you can always, yeah, get a funnel and go through this top hole. I'm not sure what the actual proper procedure to fill it up is, because there doesn't seem to be like a proper fill hole. When I was looking, the Swift engines have another one of these plugs a bit further up. So yeah, it's a bit strange, but I can't really find anywhere that says the proper way to fill it up. So yeah, that's the way I've been doing it, is through the gear selector or through this hole. So yeah, I'm gonna just see how much it'll take with the drive shaft out, and then we'll go from there. So I've got the drive shaft back in. Basically I put this funnel in from the top, and that went into the drive shaft hole, and I got 2 litres in through the drive shaft hole before it started slowly leaking out. So I poured a little bit more in than 2.2 litres, and just like banged the drive shaft back in quickly before it lost it all. So yeah, that seemed to work. So now that's plugged up, we are going to just chuck the drive shaft back in reverse order. So basically slot this back through the center of the hub, and then bolt the suspension back on, and then we're good to go. And I'm just going to leave it there and make sure that I'll clean all this gearbox oil off, leave it for 10 minutes, make sure it doesn't leak, take it for drive, and then I'll park it up overnight. Yeah, and just slide a bit of cardboard underneath it, just to make sure that it's not leaking. And if the cardboard's dry in the morning, then job done. So it's all back together. It seems to not be leaking now, or it's definitely not leaking as fast as it was. So I'm going to leave this cardboard under it. We're going to come back in a few hours and hopefully it'll be dry. We're just going to go grab something to eat, and then yeah, come back. We found an abandoned kitten over here, so we've put it in a little box and hope that its mum comes back. This tiny little kitten. It came back before, but got scared because we were here. So we're going to leave it here and hopefully it comes back and gets it. But if not, Sarah might have a new kitten. So it seems to all be dry. We've been gone for an hour and a bit and it hasn't dropped any oil, so that's good news. The kitten's been collected, so we can sleep easy without worrying about that. We were worrying we were going to acquire a new kitten. Yeah. So yeah, we're just going to stick it back on the wheels and drive it home. So it's basically ready now to take for wheel alignment and corner weight in on Thursday, and then yeah, and then track day on Saturday. So the other thing I did the other day was properly secure the vent on. It's bad lighting in here, but yeah, the vent is secure now. I put it on with Bond and just taped it all down and left it there. It seems to have held it secure. I've gone a 90 in it, it hasn't flown off, so out in Mexico. So yeah, next video will definitely be the track day, so make sure you come back for that, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.